Good morning, everyone. This is Joe Scarice, your co-founder, co-host of the Creative Birth Strategy House and podcast live every Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, providing education, networking, and strategy. So let's get started here in a few minutes. Our discussion today is the real estate professional mindset. Last room, last podcast for the year. And another thing I just was kindly reminded by LinkedIn, it is our second year anniversary holding the podcast itself. We have our own website. We have had guest stars and moderators. It's been just really a lot of fun, just with different moderators, different speakers. It's been just a great experience going into the second year. Some have gone, some have stayed, but we're still trudging along here. Providing education and networking and all kinds of great content and insight. We have a great plan going into the new year. We'll go over that in just a few minutes. I'm punching in and inviting people in through Clubhouse. So if you don't mind doing that as well, that'd be great. Let's get here. Invite some guests up here as well. Give me 1 second. Get our why they don't come up in the first place, but I always make them moderators. Morning, gentlemen. Good morning, gentlemen. All right, so we'll get those guys set up here so they can start inviting people in. And yeah, let's get rocking and rolling. All right, some great announcements coming up. I'd like to go over this first. First, my name is Joe Scarice, nationwide direct private lender, providing white label referral partnership programs as well as direct to investor at Lend Investor Capital. That's the first thing. Two, I'm very excited that we have opened up a title company in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Florida where I have ownership. It's called Invest Abstract. We have a great marketing program for that as well. And guys, I'm still a referral partner at MB Capital, providing unsecured business lines of credit for real estate professionals and small business owners. And fun irony enough, I became a client myself. It took about 10 minutes and they opened up about $125,000 of unsecured business lines. I was extremely impressed. I like to walk the walk and talk the talk. They did it. They did it correctly. They did it quickly and promptly. Gave me all the detail. Told me how to kind of. There was a couple inquiries, not many, like two overall. They showed me how to get them deleted in the new year, so it doesn't show high inquiry base, which I didn't have in the first place. So I want to thank those guys because they've been a referral partner and a sponsor of this event, this room, and podcast for the last 2 years. Yeah, it's been a very eventful, uh, collaboration with these referral partner programs that we're setting up. It took a little while to get the title company set up, but we got it all up and running. The white label had its moments, but now we're up and running with the white label where you could broker our money and white label product. We'll be also offering table funding going into the new year, which is something a little different. And we'll go into that into the new year once I have more understanding of it to provide to you guys. Another great thing I'd like to announce, we're holding now 4 events a month for the Real Estate Mastermind Strategies event planning tour here. I'll call it a tour or monthly schedule. We have we're in Philadelphia twice a month, second Monday, second Saturday of the month at Second and Chestnut. We are in Harrisburg, second Thursday of the month. That's at the Red Line Hotel. Second Wednesday of the month, we are in Fegley's Brewery, Bethlehem Brew Works. And then the third Thursday of the month, we are in Newark, New Jersey at the City Rub Smokehouse. All of them start at 6:30. We're scheduled out till April with educational subjects. I already have May through June scheduled out for them as well. I just haven't posted them yet, but we're pretty committed to that. If you go to my website, josephvscarice.com, and you go to the events page, everything's there. Everything's set up. So we're committing to Harrisburg, Philadelphia, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and Newark, New Jersey. And then I'm also touring in Oklahoma City. We're going to be in Atlanta. We're going to be in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and Salt Lake City, Utah this first quarter as well. networking at various events coming up. So let's dive into the market real quick before we go into our subject, which is always, I thought this was a really good subject to finish off the year. Rates leveled off around 6.2 base rate for conventional 30-year. In the commercial space, the 5-year Treasury has been a little ornery, so we're probably in the mid sixes right now to low, mid to, I'd say anywhere between 6.5, 6.75 in the commercial lending space. 30-year money, 10-year interest only money with 30-year looks really good. Or we have a 40-year mortgage out there, but that's a little higher in rates. You're probably looking in high sixes, low sevens. But still plenty of DSCR money, fixed to rent, fixed to flip, and new construction money pretty much leveled off at um, probably about 8.375 for the end of the year. I think that's going to be a little interesting to watch. I think that's going to be a really heavy product going into the new year, fixed to rent, fixed to flip. So we'll see where that all goes. And let's see if anything exciting comes up. Delinquencies are a little high on the multifamily side. Keep an eye on that. Some interesting articles that I saw that I will post over the next day or two. Home builders market confidence still in negative territory, but despite December rise. That's interesting. I think new construction is going to spin into more of a build to rent type of environment going into the new year in most markets, not all markets, but for the most part, new construction is not going away. It's just going to evolve a little differently. Some livable U.S. metros that came up in 20s going into 26, very interesting. Bunch of them in the Midwest, in Portland, in Kansas City, Missouri area. The surrounding areas of DC, Portland, Maine. I get a lot of inquiries on Maine, so that was interesting to watch there. Iowa, Des Moines, Iowa looks like another good market. A lot of people are moving in. Ann Arbor, Michigan is another area that's getting a little gravity on the fair market where to live. And then we get into the fair market. Rents show significant rise in largest metro areas. Let's see where that looks like. Miami, San Diego, New York, they're still elevated. It's much better rankings in Oklahoma City, which I'll be at in this month. St. Louis, Missouri, certain areas of Texas looking good. Keep an eye. I think rental compression is going to happen going into the new year. You're going to see lower rents, higher on days on mark on rents. I think you're going to see a very interesting evolving small landlord getting creative to get good tenants in. Competing with a lot of these multifamily buildings that are being converted into B-class neighborhoods, and that's a lot of competition for a lot of these small landlords. So keep an eye on that as well. So let's talk about real estate professional mindset 2026. 2026 isn't about chasing deals. It's about engineering outcomes. The professionals who win will think differently, not louder, not faster, but more deliberately. Operators versus opportunists. The 2026 mindset treats real estate as a business, not as a hustle. Systems over shortcuts, process over personalities, repeatability over one-off wins. If it can't scale, it doesn't matter. Cash flow is the language. Appreciation is speculation. Cash flow is strategy. Underwrite conservatively, stress test exits, and prioritize durability over hype. Strong operators plan for boring consistency. Structure beats speed. Speed used to win deals. In 2026, structure protects portfolios. Flexible financing, multiple exits, time as a risk buffer. The best deals are designed, not rushed. Power teams versus lone wolves. The new edge isn't information, it's alignment. Capital partners, operators and property managers, lenders who understand strategy, not just rates. Your network is your leverage. Data informed, not data paralyzed. Winners use data to decide, not to delay. Local rent trends, expense realism, liquidity awareness. Clarity beats perfection. Adaptability is a skill. Strategies will rotate. Burr will evolve. DSCR tightens and loosens. STR versus MTR versus long-term rental shifts. Professionals don't cling, they adjust. Long-term thinkers win short-term markets. 2026 rewards patience, controlled leverage, strong reserves, strategic hold periods. Survivability compounds faster than aggression. Bottom line, the 26 real estate professional thinks like an operator, plans like a risk manager, acts like a capital steward, and builds like a portfolio architect. Mindset isn't motivation, it's discipline applied daily. And I'll tell you, I've been applying a lot of this because I'm trying to create a better structure for myself from a local, regional, or national perspective. I mean, Yordell and I have been talking about moving the podcast to the rooftop deck where our offices are. So we're going to enhance the Wi-Fi there so we can do it from the rooftop deck. So that's something we're looking at. We're looking at also, committing to 4 events a month in 4 different areas that I'm comfortable with. I'm also doing a national event once a month. First one will be in Oklahoma City. I'm also testing a lot of these groups to see what their response are. Like I want to know that if I'm going to work with you, you're going to work with me. Like I just let go a group because they weren't going to allow me to do a every other month discussion on real estate in a group pattern and bringing in, a real estate team of experts. I'm like, hey, you're not going to let me do it. I'm not going to be involved. So I have more direct conversations with these organizations because has to make sense to meet the right people and be in front of the right people on a day-to-day basis. So some thoughts I want to throw out there to our moderators, and we'll get started here, rocking and rolling here. So we'll get started with Mr. Brian Guth. Good morning. Fresh back from a cruise, enjoying the winter week up in Rochester, New York. Good morning. Welcome. Brief overview who you are, what you do, and thoughts to the real estate professional mindset of 2026.
Morning, Joe. Thanks for having me. Yeah, this is Brian Guth. I am in upstate New York. Sorry, a little bit of a head cold, so bear with me, my nasally voice. Yeah, upstate New York. My wife, we do fix to flip, fix to rent, fix and hold, I should say, Airbnbs. And really kind of we're part-time investors, so we both have our full-time W-2s. But really what you said here kind of resonated with me as far as for me for 2026, and maybe I'm in the anomaly, but really kind of prepping for kind of slowing down a little bit and really, like you said, making sure my systems are in place. Admittedly, I've scaled very quickly, which is great. That was kind of my intent, but I think I let some of my systems kind of go to the side. I have some systems in place, but I really want to focus on more stability. I don't want to, I want to make sure I'm in a better spot. So really, building up my team, enhancing my team from a tax perspective, from a business strategy perspective, making sure I'm where I want to be from there. Like you said, looking at systems. Really, for 2026, my past 2 years were really about scaling and kind of going faster, or building quantity. Really, in 2026, I'm focusing on quality. Looking to see, do I want to, if an opportunity presents itself with a long-term rental, do I sell off a C property? Do I sell off 2 C properties in order to pick up a B property? Things like that. So really, just kind of more strategy. Obviously been dabbling with AI. Where can I implement that more? But really just, without rambling too much, it's really just, like you said, looking at systems and getting what I would call the foundation of my business kind of more rock solid. Because I don't want, using the metaphor, I don't want to build a high rise too high. I don't want to get to the penthouse and realize my foundation is crumbling. So really just kind of taking a step back, pausing a little bit, make sure my teams are in place, and really just getting to a better spot foundationally to make sure my foundation's rock solid. And with that, I'll pass it back.
Brian, good stuff. And it's funny. I was trying to reach you over the last week. I'm going to do a text introduction. I have a gentleman that needs a partner on a 31 property townhome deal up in Rochester, and I'm like, I know the perfect guy that if he's going to scale, it's good. And he's got the wife that's the property manager. It could be something really. It could be a twofold opportunity for both you and your wife. So you've happily reminded me on a Sunday to make that introduction. So at least you don't have to worry about you and I playing phone tag.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, send the info my way. Give me a call, shoot me a text, whatever. Let's chat about it.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I've done a couple loans for him already. So I from a character perspective, he's really. I met him when I ran into you at that expo.
Okay.
Yeah, so you might know him, you might not, but I'll make the reintroduction if need be. But he's trying to aggressively go with scale with this 31 townhome. I already have a term sheet in front of him. It's a matter of whether he has the right partner with it. I think it's a liquidity issue. You know what I mean?
Got it.
So yeah, so I will make that introduction post this podcast. But thank you. I mean, knowing that you're working at W-2, both you and your wife, and with the real estate, how do you keep it under control? You got kids, you got this, you got 14 things going on at the same time. I mean, are you thinking about hiring somebody to kind of bring balance, like an admin or something, for the between the two of you to kind of keep it together? What are some things that you're putting together mindset wise going into the new year?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, so we have our portfolio now. We have, I'm thinking to do this. I need to know the numbers. I think we have 22 properties and close to 30 doors, and they are managed by our property management company. So from that perspective, from the day to day, that's handled. So really, the work that's needed is kind of the administration, the scaling. Okay, what's our next fix and flip? Really, and looking, kind of, even though my wife works at the property management company, reviewing those details, making sure I know the portfolio. So I'm not at the point where I need necessarily to hire an admin. I'm not that big at that point because admittedly the property management company does a lot of the day to day for my portfolio. So I'm thankful for that. It's really just kind of making sure I'm more involved, and not necessarily micromanaging, but really making sure I understand the numbers, making sure I understand exactly, you know, what they look like, what the different details, things like that, and really just from an acquisition perspective, as far as do I want to look to more auction based type stuff? Do I want to look to more foreclosure type things? Really, so where I be focusing on is making sure, um, kind of letting the team that's there already kind of keep going. But for me, kind of looking what's next on the plate versus trying to spin. What do I want to put on my plate next versus trying to spin 5 or 6 plates I don't need to be spinning myself?
Yeah, yeah. I did that this past year with the social media marketing. I went all in with the social media team. They've done very well, and I'm probably going to even enhance that. Probably my budget. I'm going to probably up it a little bit, even though it's already going well. I really want to take it to the next step. Um, I'm going to also with the groups and the events. I'm putting money into those as well to see what the results look at. Now I'm only doing it by the quarter, but my mindset is, hey, listen, if I don't do it, it's not going to work. If I do it half-assed, it's not going to work. I'm going to be all in. So the next 4 months, I'm going to go all in with these four events, very solid, and commit to the subject matter. And then I'll look at it again by March, April, and say, okay, what went wrong? What went right? Did it all go well? And my mindset might shift a little bit. Um, and then taking on a national event once a month, I think it's going to be important to keep my brand out there across the country from a lending perspective. So my mindset's shifting a little bit. I'm still going to do local regional. Like after this podcast, I'm driving up to Hartford, Connecticut for a networking event this evening. And then I'm not going to go to the event that's being held in Rhode Island. I'm taking some time off with my wife and some friends on Monday. And then we're going to go to another event in Boston. So I'm going to finish off the year coming back New Year's Eve Day, meeting hopefully another 300 people to follow up with going into the new year. So my mindset is we're still not done yet for the rest of the year here. We got a couple more days. Let's make it work. Felix, good morning. Thank you for your patience. Brief overview, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to Real Estate Professional Mindset 2026.
Grand Rising Joe, Grand Rising everybody. Felix Buchanan Sr., the JLix Group, Buchanan Biz Enterprises. 2026 outlook is very similar to what you guys said. Of course, I'll have a little tweaking if we're speaking personal, but then overall, I would say for everyone and always, it's consistency. That's the number one thing, especially whether you're a new person starting out in the business or old. For me, it's social media. Doing a lot more social media. I have a wave on TikTok and IG from doing interviews with Sheeny as well as my multi-millionaire investor. So, mentor. So for me, it's now supplanting myself. I'm doing my podcast. I'm working on my podcast now. As you've talked to us many times, I've already kind of laid out who my special guests will be, putting all that together. Of course, utilizing AI in different manners because there are new AIs that are coming that would absolutely help with everyone's business. Because, like you said earlier, it's speed to lead. So people are going to want to make sure that the information that you're providing them, you're able to get back to them quickly. You want to make sure that your information is fact checked, it's valuable, it's informative. To me, I think in 2026, that's going to be the biggest key driver to getting business. The making sure that your information is super relevant, you're super professional, you're able to handle whatever the needs are that are coming up for the clients. Making sure that you're able to help them plan, strategize, and execute properly, providing that you have the proper team. Like I think Brian was just saying, like, if you're scaling, making sure that you hire the right people because I'm in the process of multiple things at one time because of how my year went and how it's ended. I agree and feel that doing more face-to-face events are going to be key. Again, making sure that you're providing valuable, intimate information where you're always saying, hey, 25, 30 people in the room. I think that that's always a great number because then you can kind of speak to the room, you can answer questions, you can be more involved. And I think that that's going to be the key driver for 2026. Making sure that what events I go to, what's the reasoning for going to events, the relationships that I'm building this year, why am I building them? What is it? What's the win-win for myself as well as them? Utilizing the first quarter to, as you said, see what works, what doesn't work. So then by the second quarter, whatever tweaks, whatever changes, whatever it is that you need to make, by the time you get to the halfway mark of the year, you're kind of moving in full stride. I think some of us that have like what you're saying at the end of the year, like just because it's only 6 days left, people are already and get ready for New Year. Monies, opportunities, different things that are available at the end of the year for us that will still allow us to use that as momentum going into the new year. So that's my knowledge and wisdom for the day.
Felix, thank you as always. Yeah, I mean, you and I, we love the networking events, the live one-on-ones, and I think if you create a social media platform for yourself that people get to see following up after meeting with you, I think that will seal the deal. That's my personal opinion about you, because I
Yes,
feel like
sir.
once they meet you and then they see what you're doing, it's hard to explain everything we do in a 30-second elevator pitch, but we try to make that work. Like, in regards to that Baltimore that event that I was supporting in Laurel, it was nice, but it was really outside my reach.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't make sense to add that to my marketing plan for the first quarter. So it just
Right.
disintegrated. Um, Doing the podcast from the location in Philadelphia, Yard Island, I've been talking about it. What do we need to get it there? And then, what with the white label course, like we have a big white label course coming up in New York, and then we're going to have it. I'm going to schedule February, March, April over the next week or two. But I really want to get in. I want to teach people how to broker loans because even if they come up with one or two deals a quarter, hey, if I get them closed, we all make some money. If I get title work for it, we all making some money. So I'm looking to do things that overlap and complement one another. I'm not looking to kind of like stretch myself out like taffy. And I think you're finding that if you stretch yourself out too much, then people don't know what to call you about, right?
Yep. Yep. That's it. You hit it right there on the nose. The factor that if you do too many things, it's going to cause people to go in another direction. So you start them off here, you bring them in here, which is what I'm utilizing with my ecosystem. And just like you said, I want to be more relevant in the events, the Laurel event. Like, what things can I do this year that adds more to that event, which I appreciate you for, and being more relevant in that particular space. You hit it right on the nose with the social media. I think it's just about that time. I'm a private person, so it's like I'm not uncomfortable in doing it. I was a football player. I was a basketball player. I did things, but I've just gotten used to my life being private, and now I'll have to open it up, which I'm willing to do because that's what's going to help my business. So again, I appreciate you in so many ways. Um, I appreciate just knowing you as long as I have, and I appreciate that you were able to put me in some rooms and help me even with this podcast. I actually go back and was listening to different things that we've discussed over the year. I was doing that yesterday, and I'll be doing it for the remainder of the year to take relevant information that we've discussed this year just to make sure that we do what we need to do in 2026.
I appreciate that, Felix. I try to say I try to get information or follow up and feedback as fast as possible. Sometimes, depending on other fellow human beings, they will never cease to disappoint us, of course, as we know that. But I think you're right. Communication's everything, right? If you're not getting back to people in a timely manner, there's obviously either an issue with you or whatever the circumstance is. Be as transparent as possible. Like, I know there's certain emails I'm putting out in front of people because they haven't gone back to me, and I'm going to follow up and find out what the deal is. There's nothing wrong with telling the truth. Be nice. That's why you use some of these great, ChatGPT, Grok like, you know, professional polishing softwares, because you know what, like, I really want to tell people how I feel, but I want to do it in a professional manner without pissing everybody off. So I let ChatGPT fix it for me and make it sound direct, professional, but getting to the point. There's nothing wrong with doing that. And I think the beauty about some of these AI tools, it's taught me to be a little nicer in responses to people. People appreciate a more fulfilling response. Like my newsletter on LinkedIn, I respond to every single comment with a professionally polished response because people appreciate that. LinkedIn's a different level and different caliber of a real estate professional. And you don't know who you're talking to in there sometimes. You could be talking to a CEO or C-level executive, and that could turn into a whole nother direction of opportunity. I know we're all like Facebook junkies, but the money is really in the LinkedIn landing elephants. You want to go land elephants? Go in LinkedIn. Connect with them on LinkedIn instead of Facebook. Facebook's a little personal, but LinkedIn's very professional. Leveraging the AI tools in your responses. What I do get a kick out of is people hitting me up on LinkedIn, but no phone call, no follow up. Hey, here's my phone number. Give me a call. I never get a phone call. Like, say 3 out of 5 times. Why? Because they don't have good follow-up skills. So I said, if you're going to have any kind of mindset going into the new year, have better follow-up skills with whoever is communicating with you. Right? How many people here have followed have been reached out to by somebody from on here on Clubhouse, and you follow with them, and it's radio silence? I'm amazed, right? I mean, if that's how they want to operate their business, knock yourself out. I mean, to be honest with you, the real estate professional mindset in 26, I'm going to dive into this real quick with real estate investor versus real estate agent. Same industry, different mindsets. 26, both operating real estate, but they do not think, act, or win the same way. Understanding the distinction is critical, especially as margins tighten and financing gets more nuanced, and strategy matters more than speed. Core focus: ownership, cash flow, risk, and scalability. How investors think in 26. It's about cash flow versus commissions. Structure beats speed. Risk adjusted returns matter. Time is a cost. Financing is a strategy, not a product. Where agents, their focus is transactions, clients, velocity, and market coverage. Volume plus relationships equal income. Market knowledge is currency. Speed plus certainty close deals. Client service drives referrals. Brand visibility matters. Some big mistakes where 2026 changes the game. This is where most professionals get stuck, right? Agents trying to think like investors without understanding risk. I have that all the time with real estate agents. Investors acting like agents and over prioritizing comps over cash flow. And I get that from investors. They think their house is worth much more than it should be. Look at the cash flow. The cash flow will set you free. If you have an extra $400 or $500 a month coming into your pocket every month, Don't worry about if the value is $10,000 or $15,000 off. Are you making $400 or $500 a door? The winners in 26 are the professionals who blend roles but keep mindsets clear. Investor minded agents who understand DSCR, rent sensitivity, and exit strategy. Investor operators who use agents as data partners, not decision makers. Hybrid professionals who know when they are wearing each hat, right? Primary goal, right? Long-term wealth, transactional income, time horizon, years, cycles, days, and months. Risk tolerance, calculated and minimized. Financing view, strategic lever, approval tool. Market volatility, is there an opportunity or is there an obstacle? Real estate agents sell deals, but real estate investors engineer outcomes. They are not the same and they shouldn't be. The most dangerous professionals in 26 are those who confuse speed for strategy or activity for progress. Good morning, Steve. Brief overview who you are, what you do, and thoughts to Real Estate Professional Mindset 2026.
Hey, good morning, Joe. Thank you for everything, and hope to talk to you in the new year about some stuff and how you caught up. I'm Steve. I'm on REI homepage, which is kind of the center point for all my different businesses as a broker, investor. And really what I spent, besides the transactions and so forth that kept the business alive the last several months, is I went into what I thought was a 90-day reorganization of my technology and social media and started realizing that the systems needed some improvement. So we've ended up spending a lot more time on that, on how we handle communications, on what I can delegate, what I can't delegate, and getting some AI and some other services involved. And that's really what I think the most important thing, going into 26 and first quarter, is for everyone to kind of look at, like someone said, it's great if you're in the penthouse, but if the foundation is weak, well, then you won't be staying there very long. And also to really focus on, what your defining factors are. As a buyer, I lose out on most deals because my, maintenance vacancy management pads and other numbers are a lot stricter. And I would rather lose out than pick up something that makes me scared. Might work great for the next guy. Probably that guy knows more. Don't know, but over here, not for me. And what I've been finding, I've been getting a lot of traction with is people wanting to get into the business, people wanting to learn about different ways to make money, whether it's a side hustle. So I've been gaining a few more agents, not a lot, 4 or 5 in the last month. And some more people who want to come on board as I get up to speed with white label and stuff. So there's a lot of people out there that want to get involved and want to know what you know and, see how you can connect with that. Because that person, I had somebody who did not work out as an agent with me about a year ago, has now brought me 3 other really powerful referrals. Because even though it didn't work for us, there was value in that relationship. They said, oh, this is the guy to call for that. So I think that your systems and your analysis of deals, analysis of whatever you do, if you are, like Joe said, if you're a real estate agent, you love doing that blind handing, the handshake, and being the market leader, great. Then lock down on that. If you're more of a wholesaler, more of an investor, more of a consultant, lock down on that. And, people aren't going to stick around sometimes very long, but they'll remember you well. And the last thing for me with the mindset is that, because I had it about a week or so ago, I'm like, wow, this process took me a lot longer and, should have. No. You're here, you look forward, you learn from mistakes, but you can't go back to them. And you have to also leverage the people, which is one of my biggest failures, is being able to reach out and say, hey, I need to make some time to see how Joe can help me with this, and so on and so forth. So really philosophical for me this time of year. But the last thing I do want everyone to possibly look at is, make sure you've done your allocation. What profits can you invest that might help you with tax, stuff? What do you need to do in first quarter before the April deadline comes up? I see Bob's on the call. He might be a great call for that, or at least, Joe and Bob can refer you to people to make sure you do as much as you can and to make sure you, get ready. The last thing for me is 2026. My purchases are going to be affordable related, meaning what can the middle and low income afford? Getting affordable housing, self-storage, mobile home parks, things that people can do if their job situation gets tougher. because we were in the more affordable space for Tennessee, and while it slowed down a little bit, it's not crashing for us. Everything is staying quite consistent. Anyway, I hope everybody has a great new year. That's what I got for today.
Steve, thank you as always. We'll definitely have to catch up. We haven't talked in a minute, actually. Feel like that we haven't talked in like a month.
One of the darkest moments of technology. Sorry.
Yeah, listen, I see a lot of people, they come in and out on that. And listen, the consistency and the continuity is everything. Okay. I get a kick out of the people that do a podcast here, podcast there. Do you know most podcasts don't go past 10 podcasts?
Wow.
Yeah. The average is 10, right? They give up, right? Or the event planner. I get a kick out of the event planner. They'll have one decent event and then they go ghost and don't have an event. I mean, you got to plan. The mindset is planning and sticking to it. I don't have the biggest room here on Clubhouse, nor do I care. I care less. I don't even care if it was just us five, to be honest with you. I really don't care. It doesn't bother me at all. You know why? The people that are supposed to be in this room are the ones that matter. Okay, the 3,500 people that are listening to our podcast post-production a week, the 300 groups that we're in Facebook Live right now and YouTube, and then going to Spotify, Audible, Amazon, etc. That's who I care about. And LinkedIn, those are the people I'm concerned about. I'm not concerned about the people just on Clubhouse. I just use this as the platform where we originally started all this during COVID. One day this is not going to be here. I could tell you that for a fact. I might not put this event on here anymore. I might just invite 5 or 6 guests to my podcast and call it a day every month, every week. Okay. And we're looking at that as an opportunity because we like LinkedIn a lot. We like YouTube a lot, Facebook a lot. And that might be a comfortable spot. And I have to have that mindset. If something's not working, I have to be able to pivot. And you have to look at it that way as a real estate professional. If it's not working, it might not be working. You might have to try something else. I can tell you for a fact, my social media marketing is working great. I'm only trying to figure out, should I spend more right now? I feel like everything I'm feeding my Google team, they're like the cookie monster. They're like, they can't get enough cookies. Their quality of work is excellent. Their posting is excellent. Their timing is excellent. I'm very happy with it. Okay. The concern is how, if I spend that much more, I'm going to have to bring in additional help, assistance, just in back office from an admin perspective. And I have to plan for that. I'm also partnering with individuals on hosting events. It's no longer just a Joe show at these events. I've brought in complimentary real estate professional co-hosts to every single event. I got Yordell in Philadelphia. I have Dave Bergeau up in Lehigh Valley. I have Joseph Hernandez in Newark, New Jersey. I have Micah Waters. She's out in the Harrisburg market. I'm committing in a collaboration with them in these events. I'm also spending money on those events. I'm spending close to $1,000 a month in marketing dollars dedicated to those events. So you got to commit, and then you got to look at the return. If the return's not there, guess what? You could pivot. It's okay. It's fine. It's okay. Everything will be okay. And what Steve discussed in regards to real estate investing as a side hustle in 2026, yes, real estate investing can absolutely still be a side hustle in 26. But what that means and how realistic it is depends on your approach, goals, and resources. Okay, what side hustle means in real estate? A side hustle suggests earning supplemental income or building with wealth outside your main job, typically within limited hours each week. Real estate can fit this model, but it's not always passive or easy. It can be a side hustle. Many investors manage rental portfolios like Brian, alongside full-time jobs, spending 10 hours a week on their investments to help with tools and automation, property management platforms, AI tools for bookkeeping communication. Okay. But it's not always passive or simple. Higher interest rates and tighter credit in 2025, 25 and 26 have made traditional real estate investing more nuanced, requiring more active management, research, operational input than in the low rate era. Being a landlord, even with a property management or manager, still involves risk, tenant issues, maintenance, sometimes unexpected costs. So while it can be a side hustle, it isn't a low effort money on its own. Market conditions in 26, I feel steady but moderate growth. I feel rental demand will stay strong, but it'll be extremely competitive. This SFR, single family through four family versus the multifamily. That's where we're going to see what's going on in some of these cities like Philadelphia, Chicago, St. Louis, smaller markets like Richmond, Norfolk, certainly like Bridgeport. You're going to see what happens here, right? Um, Competition and cash flows are going to be very. Don't get caught up in a rate. Get caught up in the cash flow. Are you making X dollars a month per door net post all your expenses, right? And you got to look at the tax and financing benefits remain. I'm looking at a couple opportunities down along the Jersey Shore still, and I'm penciling down. My wife and my mother-in-law, you're never going to find the perfect deal. I'm not looking for the perfect deal. I just want to feel comfortable. I don't want to chase the shiny object. I want to buy the right opportunity, right? What makes real estate work as a side hustle? Choosing the right strategy and using tools and automation and understanding risk and time commitment. Bottom line, real estate investing in 26 can be a side hustle, but it still requires work, strategy, and smart systems. It's not guaranteed set and forget passive income stream, especially in more competitive and nuanced markets. But with the right approach, you can build supplemental income, equity, and long-term wealth alongside your primary career. If you like it, I could even break this down in more of a tailored plan for a specific situation if anybody has any questions, of course. But we'll go to our next special guest that's been with us for the last couple of years. And he's really looking forward to planning this 2 a.m. real estate networking group meeting on Clubhouse. I can't wait to get the details going to 26. Mr. Bob Cheswick, good morning. And your thoughts to Real Estate Professional Mindset 2026.
Hey, Joe. First of all, can you hear me okay? Whenever I turn off the microphone, it gets really weird.
You sound great.
Okay. Oh, now it's better. So for the 2 a.m. podcast, Joe, I think I figured out how we're going to get people to come into that. What we're going to do is the first 5 people that show up for the podcast, they're going to get $1 million from you for free. We'll just have to get their bank account wire information. How's
Okay.
that sound?
Excellent. Excellent. I think it's a great idea.
It's a great idea that will never happen because I'm not going to be up at 2 a.m. But anyways, my name is Bob Cheswick. I'm president of Chespin Corporation. I help people set up corporations and LLCs. I'm not an attorney. I'm not here to give legal advice. So going into 2026, here's a little riddler for all of you. What's the difference between 2025 and 2026? 1 minute. Or if you really want to get technical, 1 second. Even though the year's cutting off and you're going into the next year, you still have to continue. You still want to continue grinding, continue flowing, keep running the business just as you did in the past. Now, a few things always change when the new year comes around and you need to be ready for it. You're hearing again and again that social media and AI are becoming far more prominent in basically business everywhere. But the old adage of computers still remains true. Garbage in, garbage out. Anything you get from AI or social media, verify the data before you use it. Information is only useful in the context of humanity. Don't forget that. Now, also going into 2026, a few things to keep in mind, especially the New York LLC Transparency Act saga, which is supposed to take effect this week, technically, even though it had its wings clipped by the governor. This is going to be an ongoing issue and things that we're going to have to watch out for. So that's an example of a new regulation. Generally speaking, different states will come up with new regulations and they usually kick in on or around New Year's Day. So especially if you're investing in New York, pay attention. The laws are changing there and it's going to have a massive impact. I think New York City is also reclassifying how they're going to treat changes in ownership of LLCs in terms of whether or not you have to pay the transfer tax, the real estate transfer tax, where they're going to start tracking the ownership of it. And that remains to be seen how that's ultimately going to unfold. So just be careful with that. Now, the other thing is also, as I always like to tell people when you're starting a new year, remember you have to close out your books, get everything ready for your accountant, make sure your paperwork's up to date, but most critically, watch your annual reports and other licensing and filing requirements. People get caught up in the holidays, they miss this. I've got several customers right now who are real estate investors, and I am basically going nuts because they are several years in arrears in some states with their annual reporting requirements to the state. They think, oh, I paid my taxes. That's not always enough. I've got probably half a dozen real estate investors in Delaware that if they don't do all the back payments on their previous annual reports and pay this year's, the state is going to void out their LLC. You do not want your lender finding out that the LLC you used to take out a loan has been voided by the state. Yes, in some states that's easily fixable, but that's not true in all of them. So be careful. Make sure you're paying attention to keeping your licenses and reports up to date. That is the number one thing I see for people going into the new year, and they miss it. Every state has different deadlines. I can hold a whole other room and whatnot just on that alone. But suffice to say, annual reports and renewing licenses, that's a big deal, and a lot of people miss that. Penalties can be severe. So pay attention to laws, pay attention to books, pay attention to trends. Watch the new year as it goes in, but don't forget, it's not like you're shutting down your business and starting a new one. Keep the hustle going through the new year, but don't be afraid to take a break for New Year's Eve. Go out, have a drink, have a party, and come back strong next week. This is Bob. Nothing I said was intended as legal advice. Back to you, Joe.
Guys, I don't know if anybody is aware, but I've known Bob now 16 years. I met Bob at one of my first networking events in Philadelphia, and we have stayed as part of our team. He's been part of my team for 16 years. There's not another Bob. If I need an LLC formed one place or another, I just refer Bob, because you know what? I get very comfortable and say I consider him a friend and a business associate. We always chat on my long travels back or to and from. So I always thank Bob for being part of this podcast this year. And I know Yardell is very appreciative of him as well. And we support Bob and his business in Chespin going into 26 as part of our team, And, Bob brought up something on some differences between 25 versus 26. And I want to break down some clear comparisons in the real estate market, that you need to kind of keep an eye out. Home sales activity. Okay. We're going to see a modest increase, but not in every market. I think borrowing is going to ease and buyer confidence is going to slightly return, but it's not going to be overnight. I think mortgage rates are going to moderately decline, but still remain elevated about pre-pandemic lows, aiding buyers slightly. The big play right now is April. Who is going to be the Fed chair in May? Right? We know it's not going to be Powell, but what is that shift and how is that shift going to impact price growth? I think we're going to be modest appreciation. 25 was flat. Affordability for slow improvements versus tight affordability in 25 to 26. I feel like rent growth and multifamily, certain markets, I think there's going to be a gluttony of rentals to the market with all these conversions and Class B multifamily buildings being popped up around the surrounding cities. People are going to not want to, maybe don't have to live in the urban setting anymore. They could live in the suburban markets with the convenience of the urban setting. So I'm very concerned about that and seeing where rent growth. I'm seeing days on the market with some landlords up. Buying power and market balance. I think sellers still have a slight edge in 25. I think it's going to be very balanced in 26. New construction and supply. I think construction, 25 remain constrained. I think in 26, builders may face continuing challenges, possibly lower starts. 25 in the home equity and underwater owners. Some owners lost equity in markets in 25. I think in 26, I think we'll see some stabilization, meaning fewer underwater homes, supporting more normal trading conditions. And the renters and kid influence trends. Like in 25, renters faced affordability pressures with strong demand. I think that shift, like in 26, shifts like increased demand from families and slight rent relief for multifamily could change renters' priorities. I feel like rents are going to compress a little bit. I'm seeing it already. So that's some thoughts to add to what Bob had to say. And from an AI perspective, I'm using AI tools to better my day, to get more work production done. I get more production done because of the assistance of my Google team, my AI tools, my video work, my podcasting. Everything moves along a lot quicker, and I feel like my communication is going to improve even more so in 26 because of these AI tools that are in place. I mean, you got to have a positive mindset to it. You can't get overwhelmed. And if you're feeling overwhelmed, team up with somebody that has those strengths in your if you're a real estate agent, right? If you're a real estate investor, collaborate with somebody to do it. Pay the money, get it done. I was always hesitant about spending the money on the marketing. Now I'm addicted to it. Okay, there's an addiction perspective to the social media hustle of being branded as a real estate professional out there. I think it's so important. Linda, good morning. Thank you for your patience. Brief overview: who you are, what you do, and thoughts to the real estate investor professional mindset in 26.
Good morning, Joseph. I hope everyone's doing great today. Thank you so much for hosting this. Such great information. I want to state that Bob did such a great job, and I really enjoyed the information he was sharing. And it's so true. Just make sure everything is up to date with your licenses. Make sure that everything is up to date with your documents. I know it's not easy to do. I get overwhelmed myself. I mean, I'm currently right now renewing my license, going through the 45-hour process. Why? Because, like Bob said, I didn't realize that the renewal was coming up around the corner, and then I became overwhelmed. So I'm still doing it. I'm in the process of the renewal, but I truly recommend that you put together a calendar of things that you need to do so you don't get sidetracked for 2026. I recommend you write down your goals, what your goals are as a real estate professional, what you want to accomplish in 2026. And I'm always a proponent of education. Education is so important. And I recommend, learning all the new technology that's coming out there and that's impacting our lives, such as artificial intelligence. So Linda Pliagas with Realty411.com. Thank you so much for having me. Back to you, Joseph.
Thanks, Linda. I know we have a special guest coming in on February to do a one-on-one. I forgot who it was. It was a young lady that moved back to the Philadelphia, New Jersey market. I can't remember her name from the top.
Yes, Desiree Dubois.
Yeah.
And she's with Homework. She's a specialist in short-term living and Airbnb.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we had a nice conversation. And I will be bringing a guest one-on-one discussion starting in January. We've been doing it here and there, but I'm going to commit to one a month. I'm going to interview someone, and if anybody's interested in that interview process here on Clubhouse, let me know, and we can get that set up in the upcoming months. We're definitely going to try doing that and interval that with some of the subject matter, kind of change the dynamic and the narrative. So if anybody is interested in that, please reach out to me privately, not through Clubhouse, but directly, because I'm going to need to talk to you about it. So thank you, Linda, and thank you for your support this past year, going into the new year with really 4-1, and providing some great guests for us on the podcast as well. So we have another special guest here. He came out. I invited him to come. He's also a gentleman I met over the past year through a gentleman I knew in another life. In a whole nother life, I knew a colleague of his, and we were introduced, and we've been like peanut butter and jelly up here in the Lehigh Valley area, and we had a wonderful holiday party. It was a lot of fun, and we had over 100 people there. Dave was a co-sponsor, and he's also a co-host of the Real Estate Mastermind Strategies event, second Wednesday of every month at the Bethlehem Brew Works in Lehigh Valley. Dave, good morning. Brief overview: who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion. Real estate investor professional or the real estate professional mindset of 26.
Yeah, good morning. First of all, can you hear me? I got my headphones in. So
Yep, we got you live.
Awesome. Well, first and foremost, thank you for that intro, man. And I did not know I would be on here today, so greatly appreciated. And thanks for that invite. It's actually my first time on Clubhouse, and man, I can't even tell you how long. So I'm trying to get familiar to working this bad boy back again. But Joe, thanks for having me. Again, greatly appreciated. My name is Dave Bergio. I'm one of the owners and founders of Trifecta Credit Solutions in Allentown, Pennsylvania, where we help people pretty much today, since we've been in business, our main thing now is just helping people go from credit to capital. It's also a name of a very quickly growing group that I have on Facebook as well, to where we help people, personal and business, go from credit to establish capital. And as Joe said, recently got connected over this past year, I believe in April or May, from a business colleague of mine. However, I've been friends. I had to go back and look at the date. I've been friends with Joe on Facebook, I think, for about 4 years, and we always, chat or commented back and forth. But got acquainted in May. We've done an actual awesome continuing ed event at our office, which was awesome. We get to do something like that again, just to bring people up. But as far as becoming a white label partner with Joe now, helping people through us, being a business funding broker as well, it ties into everything that we've done from the personal and business credit side to now business funding, and now to adding Joe as a white label. And the unique thing that we see up here in the Lehigh Valley is there's a lot of young guns up here, and there's a lot of young gun first time looking investors. So kind of looking at that to where it's going this year, and a lot of them need help. They need to start. They need to form business entities. They need capital, and it's kind of where I can come in to help these guys, and with Joe's knowledge as well. And looking forward to 26, I think just that Lehigh Valley room is going to be a special place, man, of just growing and networking and really getting some people. Creating some momentum moving forward, and I'm excited about it because you take me, I haven't been into the investment side a little bit. My goal is to have 4 flips under my belt for next year. I used to do some things, with my father. We've kind of liquidated some stuff since COVID started. Kind of a smart thing to do at the time, but looking to get back into it. And I think a lot of these first timers coming up, and we got some seasoned people in there too. Like, let's not forget about them as well. But it's a very unique place. Something, thank you, Joe, for you putting that on the map. It's really starting to blossom into something special. And if you would ask me a year ago if I'd be part of that, I'd be like, I don't know about that one. But very glad our paths crossed, man. And looking forward to also connecting at some of these other events, to where Joe, you travel across the Northeast here and connect with some of y'all as well.
Yeah, Dave, thank you. I really appreciate it. I love the people that you have brought in to the circle. Like we got Mike Henninger coming in, and some of the other guys that you've introduced me. Very quality, integrous individuals, and I really feel we're going to separate ourselves from a lot of the other groups that are held in a monthly basis up in Lehigh Valley because of the integrity. All right, and also inclusive of the commitment we're giving, towards subject matter. Right. I think it's going to attract a better quality professional in the space. People are not going to waste each other's time in our room, right?
Yeah, 100%. And the unique thing about that is that the backgrounds of everybody, it's pretty unique in how it can tie together with some other opportunities as well. I mean, we get a young kid there who's first in creating AI systems, and I don't even know if you know this, Joe, but he's created kind of like a scraper for Zillow and MLS, the other platforms, and stuff that's completely over my head. You got another guy that owns a gold and silver shop. We have contractors that are starting to come in there. So there's a unique blend of different individuals that can add value in other verticals, essentially.
Yeah, I'm really pumped because I'm committing, Dave, to Lehigh Valley, Harrisburg, North Jersey, and Philadelphia the first quarter. I'm fully in. I'm spending probably $1,000 a month in marketing dollars because I'm gonna focus that way. That's how I'm gonna stick to it. Because putting my money where my mouth is, I think is where it's going to make sense, right? We could market the event, but enhancing the boost to get people in front of more people to attract people we don't even know yet, right? That's what I'm excited about. The people that we're not even going to know yet that are going to come to our event in January, right? So last year I did something different, Dave, right? I had a holiday party, but it didn't have a January event. That's not happening. We're going head first into the first event, second Wednesday.
Yeah, and that holiday party, I mean, that exceeded like my expectations. You do that late on a Wednesday night in Southside East, and people showed up, man. Like it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think it brought a integrity to you and I and what we're doing in the Lehigh Valley market. I think it's going to show commitment. It's going to show value and follow through with a lot of real estate professionals come. And that's for anybody that's listening. You commit to those characteristics, you will extremely succeed in 26. So, Dave, real quick, can you let us know who you are and how do we reach you for future endeavors? And I really appreciate you taking the time on a Sunday morning.
Yeah, no problem, man. Again, thanks for having me, man. This is awesome. My first time on here, by the way. I know we've been talking about it for a while, but guys, you can reach me directly, all on social media platforms at Dave Burgio, Burgio. I'm going to type it in the chat as well. Facebook group, Credit to Capital, Trifecta Credit Solutions, their parent company. You can reach me directly at 610-442-7638. I'll drop my email in here as well. All this stuff that I'm repeating, guys, I'm going to throw it in the chat. Dave at TrifectaCreditSolutions.com. That's my email as well. Again, thank you guys for having me, Joe. Thank you for allowing me to take the mic. Guys, have a blessed day.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks, as always. And so my final thoughts to the real estate professional mindset in 26. As 26 draws a clear line between participants and professionals, the professionals who win aren't defined by titles, agent, investor, lender, operator, but by how they think, decide, and execute in an environment where capital is selective, margins are thinner, and mistakes are amplified. The 2026 mindset is built on 5 non-negotiables: strategy before speed, cash flow over ego, systems over hustle, partnership over isolation, adaptability over certainty. The takeaway in 26, real estate rewards those who act like business owners, not deal chasers. Those who understand risk, respect time, protect capital, and play long games will continue to scale regardless of market headlines. Titles won't matter. Mindset will. I want to thank all the moderators that have been part of this room and podcast for the last year. We wouldn't be here without you and your support, your value add to the room. I want to thank Linda down below at Realty 4-in-1. I want to thank the moderators here. I want to thank especially Mr. Yordell Perkins of Perkatech. None of this would be here without Yordell. Yordell has been a friend and colleague for a decade. He's provided so much to the podcast, so much the social media and all the AI tools that we leverage today, both for Perkatech, the podcast, and myself and my personal brand. I wouldn't be anywhere where I'm at today without Yordell as part of my team and my team of experts. I really hope some of you take advantage of leveraging him going into 26. He's been a great ally in so many different ways. I consider him one of my concierges, as I call him, when going in. And he's one of our hosts for our events that we're going into Philadelphia. He handles the Monday evening event and the Saturday morning event. Dave's going to handle the second Wednesday. We got Michael Waters out in Harrisburg, and we got Joseph Hernandez out in Newark, New Jersey. We got a formidable team here, a great mindset going into the new year. So I want to thank everybody. I want everybody to have a great New Year's. And I want to just give my quote today, and I posted this as part of a video. I'm doing more video motivational thoughts every morning. Good decisions, experience, and bad decisions. Good decisions come from experience. Experience comes from bad decisions. The difference between people who grow and people who stall isn't mistakes, it's extraction. Bad decisions only become liabilities when the lesson is ignored. Good decisions are simply old mistakes that were studied, owned, and corrected. Everybody have a great Sunday. Have a fantastic New Year. We'll be back next week. Please remember some of the things. I really want to get a lot of you involved in our podcast going into the new year. Separate yourself from the rest of the herd. Get interviewed on the Creative Birth Strategies podcast with us. Be part of our team of experts going into 26. If anybody's up in the Hartford market or Boston market, I'll be up there today and into Tuesday. And I have a lot of events I'm going to be planning on traveling nationwide. One is Salt Lake City, Oklahoma City, Atlanta, Georgia, and Grand Rapids, Michigan in the first quarter. So let's stay in touch with one another. Have a blessed Sunday. I'll be ending the room in the next 30 seconds. And Happy New Year, and thank you again.